We only have 20 minutes, so I need to bring our guest on the stage right now. Please welcome Ford Model E Vice President of Product Marketing, Mark Dipko, to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Boy, you guys, this is a beautiful audience. This feels like a car show, like a real big one. So, but we only got 20 minutes. We need to get into it really quickly. So this title, you're 5 months in the job, Ford Model E Vice President of Product Marketing. Can you just break down what is this Ford Model E strategy?
Yeah, the Ford Model E strategy was really a group that was set up to really operate as at the speed of a startup inside of Ford Motor Company to develop our EV products, develop those experiences, and really bring that digital aspect into the company. So it's kind of leading the innovation on the EV space while we still have the Ford Blue product line, which is, of course, the traditional ICE products, and then the Ford Pro side of the business, which is focused on commercial customers.
Okay. So this is something that's been very interesting to me because when I think it was Jim Farley, CEO, announced it, it was very crisp, it was very clear. Ford Blue, internal combustion, we're going to use nameplates like F-150 and Mustang to keep driving sales, using that revenue, sewing it into Ford Model E, which is all about EVs, electric vehicles, software-defined vehicles, right? And then Pro, which is all about the work product, which, as I understand it, can canvas or incorporate both internal combustion and the new powertrains. I don't think it's all that different from what other companies are doing, but I applaud Ford for it being so crisp and so clear. But let's talk specifically about your role in marketing for the newer generation of vehicles, because that's really kind of why we're all here. The Ford F-150 Lightning was Motor Trend's Truck of the Year this year. It's an amazing vehicle, right? Everyone likes to do one. It's great, awesome, right? Woo! Now, when we announced it, though, maybe some people on social media or any place there's a comment section did not feel so bullish about certain aspects of the vehicle's performance. Particularly, I think it was cold weather, range, and towing. So with that in mind, I heard that you're driving one right now. What are some of the challenges in your role marketing EVs as we are in this phase, which is like sort of past early adopters into sort of mainstream adoption? So a lot there, so go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and I think I want to frame it in really starting from the customer, and the reality is we're not just going all EVs. We still offer a wide range of products, right? But as you pointed out, the F-150 Lightning it's the best full-size pickup out there. I mean, it's an amazing vehicle for a wide range of customers. It's the smoothest, it's the fastest. We have Pro Power on board that can literally change the game in powering work sites, campsites, intelligent backup power. It's just an amazing vehicle, and it does tow, and it's built Ford tough. It has all those characteristics. Of course, EVs have inherent conditions, right? Particularly when you do get into cold. That's just physics, right? And of course, there's ways to mitigate that by and preheating the battery and so on. So our real focus here is making sure that those main customers that are using this vehicle, the mainstream people that really love it, making sure that they have a great experience. If they're towing, we use cloud-based data prediction for range and where you're going to stop. We make sure that we have the Blue Oval charge network, so there are those places that they can charge and plug and charge and keep that trip going on. And then the reality is, for those customers that want to tow 10,000 pounds across the U.S., we'll sell you a Super Duty and you'll be just as happy. But it's making sure to understand that it's the tool for the task. Right? We have the tools, we have a great lineup of products, so if it's not for you, we have another product for you, but we think it's overall the best vehicle, the best full-size vehicle out there.
And you mentioned something interesting that Ford actually did post-launch of the Lightning, which is at launch, the Lightning did not have the ability to precondition the battery, is my understanding, and you did an over-the-air, an OTA push that enabled that. I think that might have been either right around the time or just before you'd started. But this is now part of your challenge, right, is communicating and marketing and telling people, A, that this exists, and these are the benefits, right? So what would you say is, what's your approach in doing that, in getting out in front of people who are interested but maybe skeptical about bringing an EV into their life?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I think one thing to learn about EVs and software-defined vehicles is they're living and breathing products, and they're going to continue to improve. Honestly, being here is one of those things that you do. I think what we know as we reach, the EV audience is growing, and it's no longer the early adopter. People do want to learn about the products and experience them. So one of the biggest things we're doing is we're scaling our production, right? So we've now scaled. We're going to be able to produce 200,000 Mach-E's, over 200,000, and we're ramping Lightning production run rate of about 150,000 by the end of this year. And what that means is we're able to get products out there for customers to experience. Right now, you can order a Mach-E, you can go to a dealer and actually experience one. And again, that's what this event is all about. So customers can come in and experience them, learn about them. And then on the other side, it's really leveraging our dealer network as well, right? Is you can order a product online if you want. You can have a 100% online experience, but we also leverage our dealer network to be able to go in and be that expert and to answer those questions and to give that hands-on experience. So it's really that hybrid model that we're focusing on is, if it's up to the customer. You choose your path. And I think that's a consistent theme you'll see is giving customers choice and making sure that we're able to deliver on what their needs are.
That's great. That's great. So you mentioned Mach-E. Your team was very clever to slide me a bright yellow. I guess it's orange, but looks more yellow. Mach-E because it just received the latest over-the-air update, which included improved Blue Cruise and some really neat some UX improvements to the vertical screen that I just kind of figured out last night when I was driving, which are now my Waze, my navigation. It's not just a horizontal, it's a full vertical screen. Spotify, I can see the whole playlist. It's not like just up in the corner here. And then of course the knob now changes a bunch of things. Is that all you? Did you do that? Like you hit the ground running here? Like, are you going to take full credit for that?
I cannot take credit for that, but I do credit the team that we have. And I think this is a great example when we talk about software-defined vehicles. We're using data from the vehicles, how customers are using the vehicles, aggregated, anonymized, of course, it's to protect their privacy, but we're able to see when there's friction, right? This isn't going out and just surveying customers, it's actually seeing how they're using it and combining that with of course, one-on-one and research, but we have then a very clear path for what we need to do. So you're seeing that in improvements to our future products, as you mentioned, with the Lightning, as well as changing the sync screens with Blue Cruise. All of these things are living and breathing, and we're able to use that data to improve the experience for the current products and also on the next-gen products that we're developing right now.
Okay. So you're a longtime marketer. I just want to pause here, and I'm really trying to make software-defined vehicles, SDV, like a term everybody gets. That's why I'm wearing the T-shirt. Your big boss might have told me, like, oh my God, that sounds like something you go see a doctor about, Ed. Like SDV, come on. But it's such a powerful thing because the vehicles will improve over time, and it's bigger than EVs. EV is mere powertrain, mere electrification. What you're talking about with OTA, it's for Lightning, it's not just coming to the Lightning electric truck. You're able to push these to the gas F-150s as well, right?
Yeah.
This is accurate. It's software-defined vehicles, powertrain independent.
Yes, and so these are platforms, right? We think of them as platforms. Model E is really the center of excellence for the digital experience and the customer experience, but then that will roll into other products. So you're seeing that with the F-150, if you have the Sync 4A system in an F-150, those same updates are coming as well. So it's not just limited to the EV products, but that's the user that really wants them and demands that type of technology. And then as we develop it there, we scale it out.
Is SDV the right term? Should we pivot away?
Tech industry, it makes sense. I don't know. I'll maybe pull the crowd here, see what everyone thinks. Jury's still out.
Okay. All right, so we'll pause a little bit on all the Ford stuff. I do want to talk about your background. So you are 5 months in. at Ford Motor Company. Previously, you were at a little company some of you guys might have heard of called Amazon. You worked on products including Alexa and AWS. Prior to that, you were at Hyundai, a few other companies, but you're an engineer by education, and you got your start actually at Ford back in the late 90s, 2000s era, working on the Cobra R and the Aston Martin V12. What's it been like to come home to Ford?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I mean, the ability to kind of see both ends and be away for 20 years is really really something that inspired me. When I was here, I was a young engineer, and I really wanted to learn more and get more upstream in the product development. But so it kind of took me on this different path. But now that I come back, I see a lot of the people that were here when I was young engineer. They're now chief engineers and tech specialists. I mean, the expertise in the company is amazing. But then we're augmenting that with bringing in people from big tech, for instance, even companies like Tesla, Google, Amazon, and we're augmenting that expertise with this, these people that can bring in more innovative thinking on the digital platforms. And that's what's great about what makes it so exciting is it's not our first rodeo. We know what we're doing. We know how to make very high quality products, but layering on these new experiences is what is really exciting about the role.
Has there been a big culture change? Have you noticed any
in a lot of ways, yes. I mean, especially within Model E, like when we say we operate like a startup, that's true. We are small teams, we're dynamic, we operate in more agile principles, things that maybe the rest of the team are coming along to, but it's more common in a software engineering than it would be in a traditional product engineering. So those changes in that ability for everyone to just be super excited about moving forward and defining something new is probably the biggest change that I've seen. And I will also say, like, the customer focus is something that's been like we've always kind of focused on customers in ways, but now having the data and being able to really bring that to life, right? Understand things more deeply, and that's why you'll see us go into these areas that are maybe smaller pockets of passion, whether that passion's work and play. You'll see us kind of expanding in these different areas based on what we learn about our customers and their needs.
Right. Okay. So I want to be useful to the people in the room who work at either legacy car companies or transportation companies that are trying to, tackle this big sea change that's going on, but also startups or big tech companies which you have background to. So is there any advice you could tell our friends out here as they look to market their products, whether it's an electric bicycle or a scooter or some other form of new form mobility? Is there anything that they should kind of have in their mind?
I'm gonna sound like a broken record up here, but I think a lot of times in a really highly competitive environment, you tend to over-focus on your competitors, right? What are your competitors doing? What's this spec? What's this thing? And you get that focus, but really as a company, and this is something that was, when you work at a company like Amazon that is so customer obsessed, you learn how to mechanize this idea of define the experience for your customer that fits your brand and do that really, really well. So it's customer obsession, but competitive awareness. And that's something that I would say, and you see companies that really succeed tend to do that. Like know their customer, really execute well against that. Have competitive awareness, but don't over-focus on what others are doing.
Okay, customer focus, but competitive awareness. Okay, I like that. Okay, so what is next for Ford? What's next for Model E? What are things that we should look to in the near term?
Well, first and foremost, I think that the big message, and I said one of the reasons we're here is, we launched these products, and obviously there was a time when we're scaling up, but we are now to that point where, we promised to deliver 600,000 units by the end of 2023, and we're ramping up to meet that. These, both the Mach-E and the Lightning are available, and I think that's the big thing, is getting to that scale where we can now fulfill more customers' needs, even with something as simple as, that sounds as simple as the XLT trim, where we were supply chain constrained, now we're able to open that up. So it's really about getting our business scaled to be able to deliver those products to customers. So that's really the first message, right? And you know, the fact that the Lightning is now open, it's the first time it's ever been open orders, right, since its existence. So big change for us. As we look forward, you know, we're already working on our second gen products, and you know, we already talked about, you know, some of the areas we're going in there with the truck and with the 3-row. And of course, we have some updates to these current products that you'll see coming along. And it's sort of what I was teasing a little bit there, is understanding some of the customers and maybe some different needs that will allow us to expand the appeal of the product into a little bit different territories, into different customer needs in that sense. So, and of course, Blue Cruise will continue to be a living product. It'll continue to get updates, continue to add features, as well as, you know, the things that we talked about earlier with the HMI and so on. So,
I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. You said future product electric trucks? Is it plural? Or is it
I'm not sure.
No?
There's definitely truck.
Truck, okay.
We talked about
just
truck.
checking here. Because man, you know, that Maverick with either a plug-in or a full electric, that would be really something, you know?
Take that as a data point.
Okay. You know, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you one thing that's been on the minds of a lot of our staff. It's on the minds of a lot of people who have already adopted an EV, and we were just chatting about it earlier. I think you said it. We've moved beyond range anxiety to now charge anxiety, and you know, over the holidays I took a road trip between two very small cities in California, Los Angeles and Sacramento. And that, you know, on a road that no one's ever heard of, the 5 freeway, and had a huge problem with charging. Had to stop twice, had a kid with a little baby with us and just freaking out. It's a mess, and I think we can all agree. What is, and I know this is not totally your remit, but obviously as the guy who's trying to market these products, how do you address the infrastructure issues? First of all, are there infrastructure issues? And how is Ford addressing them?
Yeah, I think pretty much every panel that would come up here is going to tell you kind of that same thing, is there are definitely issues with the experience, the reliability that need to be addressed. And we need to do that as an industry. I think that's a common theme. What we're doing is obviously participating as, you know, a leader in the industry and helping, but also for our customers is building the experiences. So for us, the Blue Oval Charge Network is really aggregating all of those stations and being able to make that experience much easier. You pay through one app. You don't have to set up all of these different accounts, plug-and charge capability, the ability to route and map. But the problem is when you get there, if the station's down, that's not the great experience. That's where it all breaks down. So it's an industry challenge that we all have to face, and we're of course, you know, leaned in as heavily as anyone to help solve that.
Right. Ford just announced earlier this week that they will be working with a consortium, right, to improve the overall charging experience. And then we also talked about how you guys have charge angels, right? You've empowered some Ford. I don't think it has to actually be only Ford vehicle owners, but people basically to go out and check on the condition of the chargers and report them in and help get them fixed. So I think I applaud that. When you look at where we are right now, the U.S. new car sales just passed that sort of first critical gateway. 5% of all new car sales are now EVs. That's as of July last year. Where do you think we're going to be from an adoption standpoint in the next 5 years, and then say, 15, so 10 after that?
It's hard to make a volume prediction. Of course, we have them. I think we stated we anticipate by 2030 we'll be about 50-50. Right? Okay. So, I think that's one of the things, getting back to we'll still have ICE vehicles, but a significant volume of EVs. I think though, when you think about it from a marketer's perspective, the customer is changing. The customers no longer just buying an EV to buy an EV. There's products out there, and they'll compare them side to side. They'll make sure that they fit their everyday lives. Can I have this as a single vehicle in my household, or do I need to have this in another vehicle? So that's why it's really important for us, as I mentioned, to have vehicles on the ground in dealerships to go in and test drive, be able to, knowing that the customer is now changed, knowing that the customer is now sort of using a more, traditional value equation as they evaluate the products. So that changes how we market and how we have to communicate.
So on that, what do you mean? So before, are you saying like early adopters were willing to look maybe past? There's an argument that says like, oh, EVs are only for the rich, right? But now, as we hit the mass adoption scale, people are coming back to what's the value for money? Do I have that right?
Yeah. And just does it fit their life, right? In the beginning, they might have, said, okay, well, I'm going to get it because of emotional reasons or whatever it may be to be one of those early adopters. But now you're seeing that customer have much more traditional behaviors and doing those comparisons. Again, we have to change and make sure that we have the product there for them to experience, that we get our order times down. So, a lot of times when people want to buy a vehicle, they want to buy a vehicle. You can't make them wait, these long periods. So that's what's really important to us, scaling and getting to the numbers that we need to make sure that, if you want one now, go to the dealership and buy one out of inventory. If you want to order one, we can get that order time down to a reasonable number that customer can plan on.
This is fascinating. So what you're saying is a lot of what has been pioneered by that other big EV brand in terms of announcing it online reservations and orders, and I know Ford touted that when Lightning came out, but you're saying that kind of works in that earlier phase, but you really need to have inventory and the ability for somebody to walk up and say, I want the white one and I want to drive away with it like right now.
It's both, right? And again, it goes back to customer choice. There are customers that have their mind made up. They can go online, have 100% online experience. There's ones that want to go to the dealer and have 100% dealer experience, and you can be somewhere in the middle. Schedule a test drive, bring it to your house. We want to deliver all of those. It's about customer choice. If you limit it, you hear a lot of stories where people say, I ordered it, but I didn't know how to use it. And I don't know who to talk to. I actually had someone tell me they had to YouTube how to use a competitive vehicle, right? So like we tend to forget how the expertise of the dealer and having that person to go talk to and get educated on the product is important to a wide group of customers out there.
Okay. So we are 90 seconds from done. I knew this would go by really fast. My last question to you is, this is an amazing event. This is a new event. This is year 2. This feels very young. You guys all look very young. This is great. This is Ford's first time here, right?
Yep.
And you have a big footprint. Is this one of the approaches to get after young people? Is there anything else we can look for Ford to experiment with? You guys are doing big things in the influencer space. Like where can we look? Where should we go? If we were to follow Ford around and try to market to the new customers in the same way, where are you guys going to be?
I think, as I was saying with this transition to the customer, you're going to see our messages change a little bit, right? We have the Mustang Mach-E, and it's great as a Mustang. It's also an amazing everyday vehicle. So you're going to see us get that message out there that this isn't just a Mustang. It's a great vehicle that is also a Mustang. So you'll see us kind of expand the messaging and how we talk about the products, again, because that's what the customers are looking for. Can I live with this vehicle every day? Still TBD. We have a lot of stuff coming this year, but I think in line with what we're talking about, our inventory's building. We're able to deliver these products. So we'll be at events like this. We have test drive tours. We're getting out there and getting into much more of those experiential, because getting butts in seats is really right now what matters a lot for the EV customer, and we'll be here and we'll be able to deliver when they're ready to buy.
So it's not, even though it's a digital era, there's still value in events in IRL, in real life.
Absolutely, particularly right now.
All right, we're getting the hook. We're out of time. Thank you, Mark. This is awesome.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Appreciate it.